edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing, and our top story, the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority is marking a momentous occasion this week, as we reported, after years of work on its propane conversion and several delays that drew criticism from residents. The authority is finally marking a milestone that could finally yield the promised savings to its customers. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Sandy, this week is a pretty big deal for WAPA. For the first time since 2013, when the project began, propane is finally being introduced as a primary fuel source at WAPA's Estate Richmond Power Plant on St. Croix. This comes after almost 3 years of work on the propane conversion project. In July 2013, under former WAPA CEO Hugo Hodge, WAPA signed a contract with global energy company Vitol Corporation to begin work on shifting the territory toward propane. On Tuesday, WAPA barricaded certain roadways to keep motorists away from the facility for safety. They're starting with one generating unit, Unit 20. On Wednesday, WAPA was scheduled to fire up Unit 20 on oil first. Let General Electric gather some data before switching from oil to propane. According to WAPA, they're not yet certain when the roadblocks will go down, but this phase of the commissioning process is expected to take between 7 to 10 days. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, while that's happening, acting WAPA CEO Julio Reimer was at the Senate, giving updates on various issues, including old leaky water lines in Frederickstead and other areas.
Our main goal right now is to replace the lines that are really severely bad, which are really creating a lot of the actual losses. Okay. So here it is, we're losing more than we're actually putting out. For example, it would 50% line loss or 40% line off, which means I have to pour double the amount of water to actually get to the actual areas.
When asked to what direction WAPA is headed, Mr. Reimer said,
the authority must remain solvent, one, and two, actually having surplus cash in the case of emergencies or outages or catastrophic events. At this point, we don't have that because of your constant, for the past 3 decades, of government receivables being at a certain level.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now, once the commissioning of Unit 20 has been completed, WAPA will begin the same process with Unit 16, another generating unit that has been converted to burn 3 fuel types: LPG, natural gas, and oil. A public-private sector workshop that focuses on the disaster management was held today. The workshop was hosted by Tropical Shipping in collaboration with Caribbean Central American Action, Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, and Vitima. They say all of these entities continue to play a major role in disaster recovery, and these workshops are a huge benefit.
After disaster, and a lot of people, something that we found out today, a lot of people just focus on disaster, like mostly hurricanes, and there's just so many more, the threat of terrorism, the earthquake, even a tsunami. It's so vast. Even some kind of health outbreak. It's just such a vast topic when we talk about disaster in the islands. And in every aspect of that, getting supplies into the islands as quickly as possible, getting supplies, even to the fact that Tropical does supply our customers with sat phones, make those available so they could call family, they could call the mainland. Any way that we could help in terms of making sure that our customers and the government agencies are given access to the vessels that we have coming in here, it's extremely important.
And that was Nisha Albane, Tropical Shipping's island manager. Governor Kenneth Mapp announced the departure of some officers during a brief press conference on St. Croix. 8 Virgin Islands police officers left the VI Tuesday for a rigorous 6-month course at the New York Police Department's Training Academy. The officers will receive certifications in CPR and first aid. They will go through extensive firearms qualifications training and defensive tactics. They will also learn how to best handle a variety of situations, such as dealing with a mentally ill person or an active live shooter. 4 officers were sent from each district, and they range in age from 23 to 37 years old, and they are expected to graduate in October. Well, on Wednesday, April 6, 2016, an arrest warrant was executed to the rear of Bienvenidos Mini Mart, where Ala Zatara was arrested and charged with 2 counts of animal abuse, first degree, and disturbance of the peace. On Friday, January 1st, 2016, Ala Zatar struck two dogs with a machete, causing severe injuries about the dog's body. The owner of the two dogs positively identified Zatar as the individual who struck his dogs with a machete in his presence. Bail for Zatar was set at $15,000 by the Virgin Islands Superior Court, and unable to post bail, Zatar was remanded to the Adult Correctional Facility at Golden Grove, pending his advice of rights hearing. Well, as we reported on Tuesday, the government employees retirement system fired back at critics who decry some investment choices by the GERS leadership. Administrator Austin Nibbs also addressed how unpopular decisions such as putting a hold on all loans are important in keeping the system solvent. News Tuesday, April Knight has more.
In a rare press conference on Tuesday, GRS Administrator Austin Nibbs spoke out against critics of the agency.
The investments that are in questions, when compared to what the plan sponsor should have invested into the system, is very minuscule.
Nibbs stood firm on freezing the GRS loan program in spite of a bill moving through Senate that would mandate its reinstatement. According to the administrator, the $40 million they're saving from freezing loans takes a chunk out of their annual deficit, which now stands at more than $150 million.
Annually, for the last 2 years, we've been drawing at least $40-something million disbursements in loan every year. So that has significantly reduced what we're drawing from the portfolio.
20 years ago, the numbers were way lower, only $1.6 million in 1996. Governor Kenneth Mapp dished out some of the loudest criticisms of GRS.
If they don't manage and make sure that their investment instruments are fairly sound and protect the interest and the dollars of the employees of the government employees retirement system, then it matters not how much we put in.
A little confused on the governor's stance about GRS because through the transition period, there was everything that I discussed here today, 80% more of what I discussed was given to the administration.
According to Nibbs, government leaders critiquing and making decisions for the GRS without a good grasp of its issues is a dangerous thing.
I think it is because when I hear it out there, I kind of shut and say, what are they talking about? Why didn't they call me or call a member of the board to ask for information?
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Administrator Nibbs estimates that the system contributes some 20 to 25% of the territory's GDP, and if the system doesn't get help soon, it could impact the entire VI economy. Meanwhile, Governor Kenneth Mapp joins in on the outcry against the Puerto Rico debt bill that could help bail out the Commonwealth but could negatively impact the Virgin Islands. According to the governor, the legislation can hurt the Virgin Islands' ability to access capital markets. It could also raise the cost of borrowing, he said. The governor is equally concerned with a provision in the bill that would create an oversight board, not just for Puerto Rico, but other territories as well. He said potential restrictions could rule how debts to bondholders and other debts will be paid. According to Government House, the governor sent letters Tuesday afternoon to House Speaker Paul Ryan, Democratic leader, Natural Resources Chairman Robert Bishop, and several other ranking members of Congress on the Puerto Rico debt bill. Meanwhile, it's a New York state of mind for the race to the White House. Turning to Washington, candidates are now focused on the Big Apple and its big delegate prize. Dan Gallagher has more.
It's a sweep for the senators.
God bless the great state of Wisconsin. We won in Wisconsin.
But the math still makes their path a difficult one. After losses last night, the frontrunners are taking their campaigns and going home. Home to New York, that is.
I can't believe it. I am so excited to be in New York. And
that's got to be a relief.
Sleeping in my own bed.
The polls just came out in New York, where they really know me best.
And are apparently fans of the native New Yorker. A new Monmouth University poll released this afternoon shows Donald Trump with a commanding lead. 52% of likely Republicans there are banking on the billionaire. It's more than twice the number of people who prefer John Kasich, triple that of Wisconsin winner Ted Cruz, who spent time shaking hands in the Bronx this afternoon.
This has been one wild election year.
A Quinnipiac University poll shows former New York Senator Hillary Clinton besting Brooklyn-born and raised Bernie Sanders by 12 points in the Empire State, 54 to 42%. The Sanders camp maintains that he has momentum on his side, winning 7 of the last 8 contests. But experts are quick to point out that for every candidate, there is a lot of time between now and April 19th when voters in New York cast their ballots.
You don't go through New York without getting scorched a little by the New York media.
And while New York is important, both of the Democrats are also holding events in Pennsylvania Wednesday, a state that doesn't vote until April 26th. In Washington, Diane Gallagher.
Let's take a look at the New York Stock Exchange as the stock market watch as we keep an eye on the economy. And according to the numbers there, we can see everything up. The Dow 112, NASDAQ 76, S&P 500 up 21. Coming up on News 2, drum roll please. Who was named the Rotary Person of the Year? Find out who was honored today with the surprise announcement at the Marriott's Frenchman's Reef. That was an awesome performance there by Matt Desch, known to all as Big Stretch, the flame tamer, pyromasticator extraordinaire, he calls himself, performing recently at Tillett Gardens. Kudos to you there, Matt. The Rotary Club of St. Thomas, too, named its annual Person of the Year today at a luncheon held at the Marriott Frenchman's Reef Hotel. Rotary says the winner's name is a closely held secret until the public announcement. It was revealed that Horace Colwood, the principal of School Busing, Inc., would be receiving that honor. He happily stood up to accept his award, and of course, he was honored for his dedication to the community in front of his peers and many others in attendance.
That our recipient had not the slightest suspicion that today they will step into the spotlight of Virgin Islands history. Not the slightest suspicion that today they will be named the Person of the Year for 2016. But aware or not, this person is about to receive one of this community's most prestigious honors in recognition of, as it says on the plaque beneath the figurine I'm about to present them with, their selfless dedication to the people of the Virgin Islands.
I am very pleased to be the recipient of the Person of the Year Award of Rotary Club 2 of St. Thomas for the year 2016. I've been in this club for more than 30 years, and it's always been a pleasure for me to do the things that we do at Rotary, which centers around service above self. And it is natural in me to want to help people, and that's what Rotary is all about.
Well, the popular competition started in 1981. This is the 35th recipient who embodies the qualities necessary to receive the Don Quixote statuette, symbolic of the winner's selfless dedication. Local Republicans are working on doing local outreach. Members say even if it's a small token to inspire our young people to adapt, learn, and achieve, it has to be done. They say one of their goals is to inspire independence, not dependence. The local VI Republicans donated 2 laptops to the Ullamulla Elementary School on St. Thomas, courtesy of the efforts of Chairman John Canegata. They say they hope it served as an inspiration to the students. Job well done there. This week, the territory is joining the nation in celebrating the Week of the Young Child. It is officially observed from April 10th to April 16th on both islands. A culminating event will be held on both districts on April 15th on St. Croix. Young learners will get demonstration from various government agencies at the D.C. Canegata Ballpark starting at 9 a.m. And here's how they're celebrating it on St. Thomas.
Well, we go big or go home. So we're actually going to have a parade, and it starts at Griffith Park at 9 a.m. So if you're driving in your cars, honk your horn so that way, you know, the children recognize that you're seeing them and you recognize them as well. and we go all the way to Cancrine Field, and we have a fun day for the children. Fire service will be there doing demonstrations, as well as police. We'll also have persons participating from Soccer Association, Cricket Association. So Sports Park and Recreation will be there. We have the whole community just coming together to celebrate our youngest learners.
And those were the t-shirts you'll be seeing the young ones wearing all week long. Many young males were inspired at the 6th annual Man Up Male Empowerment Conference that was held on Tuesday and Wednesday on St. Thomas. Young men attending that conference were able to meet in small groups. On Monday, junior high and middle school students met at the BCB Middle School. And today, high school students met at the CAHS Auditorium. The Man Up Conference on St. Croix will be held on April 7th on UVI's Albert A. Sheen campus from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sherman, founder and Chief Empowerment Officer of AIM High International LLC, was the keynote speaker, Sherman Robinson. And then we have on St. Thomas, Labor Commissioner on St. Croix and entrepreneur Albert Bryan Jr. will be the keynote speaker on St. Croix. Meanwhile, the young women were not left out. Conferences were held for young women called For Girls Only. The main speaker was attorney Sulaine Walker, and men and women from the community led facilitated discussion groups. The theme of junior high middle school was We Know Who We Are, Designers Original. The theme of the high school conference was Excited, Encouraged, and Empowered. On Monday, junior high middle school girls met at the Adelita Cancrine Junior High School. Today, April 6th, high school girls met at the Dora-Ken High School. There were sessions where students were able to dialogue with facilitators. Students were provided lunch and transportation for the visiting students. Well, the 2016 St. Thomas St. John District Primary Spelling Bee will be held on April 7th, so be sure to go out and support. The Virgin Islands Department of Education's Office of the Insula Superintendent, St. Thomas St. John District, is inviting everyone to the District Primary Spelling Bee on Thursday, April 7th at 9 a.m. at the Bertha C. Bushelton Middle School Auditorium. 21 students in 2nd and 3rd grade will participate in this year's bee. The event is free and open to the public. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.